Tuperos y tuperas. Today on the River, we're going to look back at that cold, chilly night in Chester, Pennsylvania, as our Philadelphia get the second win of the season. And of course, ladies and gentlemen, I don't have to tell you what this weekend is. It was the revenge tour against NYCFC. We're going up against that snarky team that we hate up in New York. And ladies and gentlemen, don't you dare go anywhere because you do not want to miss this episode of Duke by the River. Let's get started, guys. Hey, stop.
Duke by the River
doesn't do anything well. There is not one.
I'm sorry. There was no creativity.
As a Union fan, I take that all day.
Another DP. We need to go get Mario Balotelli. That is right. Welcome, everyone, to Duke by the River. The show where we follow everything Philadelphia. We are brought to you by Philly Sports Network. Before we dive into this episode of Duke by the River, real quick, ladies and gentlemen, if you're watching this live, thank you so much for tuning on in. Make sure you guys hit that like button. Join the family by subscribing to the channel. We always broadcast these lives through our Barcelona Phillies YouTube channel, so make sure you guys are subscribed. And, of course, if you want to listen to this, you can always listen to it wherever you stream podcasts. We're under PSN Radio, and you can find all of your favorite Philly Sports Network podcasts through there as well. There's no Zach tonight, so ladies and gentlemen, let's introduce to you today our experts in duping. And first up, he's always coming with the nicknames. Ladies and gentlemen, Justin Itty Bitty Banner Brigade Friedberg. Justin, how you feeling here today, my man?
It's been a beautiful day. Weather's been perfect. We get to talk some Union soccer, so a good day in my book.
Absolutely. There's nothing better than that, that's for sure. And then, of course, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome our guy, Mr. Tim Lovinguth. What's up, Tim? How you feeling, man?
I'm good. I'm back from Florida. I mean, I was back at the end of last week as well, so I got here just in time for the just awful weather that we had last weekend, which was great. But no, I'm here. I'm ready to talk some Union. Best start in team history. I'm sure we'll get into that in a few minutes, but it's kind of crazy that 2 wins and a draw from the first three is the best start in team history. But hey, we'll get into it. I'm here for it.
Absolutely. It's been a good start so far. The team has been looking as advertised, but of course there's a lot of soccer to be played, and of course we'll break down that past matchup against the San Jose Earthquakes, and we will also be looking ahead going forward against I hate saying it, NYCFC. But before we dive into that, gentlemen, so we had Union 2 news that was a little bit interesting. 3 new players added on to Union 2, Boubacar Diallo, the 19-year-old Senegalese midfielder. We also had a Colombian. Finally, not just me and Ali. We have Carlos Paternina, and he's a 20-year-old attacking midfielder. The good news is he comes from a club in Colombia where they just breed young talent. And Envigado FC, they just continue producing young talent after young talent, especially attacking midfielders. Juanfer Quintero and James Rodriguez are notable alums of the Envigado Academy, so that is definitely some good news. But, gentlemen, the other name that we need to mention, Jose Reasco. This is a name that's been linked to the Union for God knows how long, since the offseason. This deal has finally fruition. It took a minute, but he is going to be here. We know this is a center forward, 17-year-old kid. He's been developing very, very quickly for Deportivo Lara. And now the thing is, yes, he got signed for Union 2, but he can also be playing for your team as that fifth striker. So I don't know about you guys, but I'm like really intrigued by this kid. 17 years old, seems as if the potential for him, it is really great. And oh, by the way, a $1.5 million transfer fee as well. So, guys, what do we have here? What do you think we have here with this Reasco? Justin, if you want to start it off here today, man.
Listen, I think the team wasn't lying when they said that this was going to be this is the pipeline now. This is your, what was the steal. And I think the fact that, Riasco, they've already said, the rumors I've heard is that he's already going to be the fifth option, and be ready. And, to throw that on an 18-year-old kid seems like a lot. But if he's coming in for a $1.5 million transfer fee. You have to see a lot in that kid. I mean, and let's be honest, when's the last time the Union really had a homegrown forward? Like, that's been the one position that the team's been lacking. And you look at so many teams around this league that have produced young forwards and then have gone on to sell them. You look at the Union and go, well, it'd be nice if we could, with the Brendans and the Marks, it's like, yeah, midfielders and defenders, that's pretty easy to flip. That's the standard to flip. I'd say, Daryl DK wasn't an academy player, but he's the example of taking a player in on a season, not even two, and then flipping him for, crazy amount of money to West Brom. Like, Ricardo Pepe is a prime example. $20 million to Augsburg. That's just unheard of for an American forward. And I think in forward in general in this league, to be sold on for that kind of money is bonkers. And I think this, the MLS next, this reserve league is not the it's just academy players. It's there's gonna be veterans. There's gonna be a lot. There's a lot to this league, and I think this really takes the indication. And like I said, they're going to be under the stewardship of an insanely solid academy coach. Marlon LeBlanc has with the 1 year that he had with the Steel, where it was literally just baby Union FC. He got a lot out of that team, and they really, for a lot of the games where they got dominated, they really fought, and there was a lot of close games. I think the blowout stood out more, but I think it wasn't as bad as you thought, because he also got the best out of these young players. And I think to have them under his stewardship, I think he's the right person. He knows what this team wants to develop. He knows how they want to, mentor young players. I really think this is the start of something pretty big for the Union, for a team that already is producing young players through the academy. Yeah. This is just another avenue to bring in young talent, and who knows what it's at this point you're tapping into untold potential.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. I love that. I love that blueprint of trying to build. Tim, I will ask though. I guess there's no Lewandowski's hanging around Delco.
I mean, I guess not. I don't know. Like, forward seems to be the hardest position to really groom in terms of academies. It seems like everyone that kind of comes through, at least fast, has been more so a midfielder or defender, at least in the Union's case. But when you look at someone like Riasco coming to Union 2, Transfer Market had an article on him and talked to Ernst Tanner, and Tanner was saying he's wanted this player for a while now. Since sort of those first rumors came out, and probably even last season. And Ernst Tanner compared him to Karim Adeyemi. I don't know if you guys know who that is. He plays for Red Bull Salzburg. Tanner actually brought him into Salzburg.
That's a pretty good comparison. Adeyemi is literally probably going to be sold this summer. There's no question.
Tanner brought him into Salzburg to develop sort of the same situation. Adeyemi is now 20. And his market value is $38 million. So, I mean,
not saying we're gonna get $40 million.
No, I'm not saying that'll happen for the Union. I know MLS is kind of on the up, but I wouldn't be surprised if they bring this kid in for, I forget how much they even said they spent on him. I know you said it earlier, but it wasn't that much in comparison of what they could get if this kid is legit, comes in, balls out at Union 2, gets the call up to the Union, and then maybe has one season with the first team. You can see this guy going for a good chunk of money over to Europe. I would say. So I think that's what Ernst Tanner is trying to do. To Justin's point, it's kind of that uncharted territory of the Union haven't done this yet, but now they're looking at young players to bring into the club to then flip later on, but also help the first team in the meantime as well, and Union too. So we'll see how all this goes.
What I love about what the Union are doing is obviously, like, we do know that they're kind of in a win now mode. They're ready, but you also look, and that's part and do with the depth that they have created. But there's like plans like 2, 3, 4. I feel like 2, 3, 4 years down the line for a lot of these positions, and that is really smart as well. That's how you build a championship caliber team. And when I look at the forward positions, gentlemen, like, we know we have Mikel Ore for the next couple of seasons. We don't know what the future of Julian Carranza is. I mean, we would all hope that they would continue. We'd bring him on this season. Sergio we love, but we do know how his body is, and Corey is great, but we all know that we could upgrade from that. So having a Jose, being able to develop within the system, and if the potential is there, like we keep hearing, then it's going to be great. And this Venezuelan pipeline that we've been building as well since Ernst has been here from El Brujo, we still got to see really exactly what we have in Jesus Bueno. But now you add Reasco to that, and it doesn't hurt to have a pipeline like that with a South American country like Venezuela, which is also growing as a soccer football nation, however you want to call it, as well, guys. So it's it's been a great time here.
So you saying Riasco could be our Joseph? We're pipeline. I mean, hey, I'm just saying that's a goal to shoot for.
I listen. Obviously, Joseph is a goal scoring king here in the United States, but I'm shooting more further to the stars here. All right? I'm shooting more for the stars. I'm thinking, like, obviously now we're not going Lewa. Maybe Aubameyang. Can we get the Venezuelan Aubameyang possibly?
I'll take that.
We can shoot for that, right? How about Aubameyang hanging out with troops at a Barcelona match this past weekend? Pretty cool. All right, guys. Well, listen. First off, ladies and gentlemen, I want to on air commend Justin and Tim. These two sat through 90 plus minutes. It was like 105 minutes, 8 minutes of injury time in the second half. It was like 3 or 4 minutes in the end of the first half. So kudos. Listen, round of applause for these two. You guys are the real MVPs from Saturday night. But of course, our Philadelphia Union hosted the San Jose Earthquakes. As Ali said, the Cali guys, the Cali boys were in town. It was a great 2-0 victory against the San Jose side. And we talked about it in the preview. We don't really know exactly what is going on within that dressing room and what the plans are with San Jose, but they were just no match for the Philadelphia Union, who we weren't even at our full strength either. You get the first goal with Sergio Santos, and Tim probably had the biggest smile out of anyone in the stands. Jackson Ewell getting abused not once but twice. First time, Sergio Santos just dribbles past Jackson Ewell. Ewell has nowhere near the speed of Sergio. Sergio finds Corey in the box, buries in the back in that 23 minutes in. We're up 1-0, just like that, ladies and gentlemen. And then in the second half, 58th minute, Jackson Ewell with the handball.
It was like just arm out. You're like, you can't, like, the ref's standing right there. He has the best view of it. And it's just like, and he's arguing, and Tim and I are like just standing there, just like doubled over in laughter. Because, like, we both knew, we're like, oh God, it's happening again. It's great.
Well, you know what's better than a Jackson Ewell handball in the box? A Daniel Gazdak DOOP, as he nailed that penalty kick with the Panenka. Oh, the Panenka.
The cojones.
He did it to honor El Seno. That's the best part.
That's the best part. As Danny said in the broadcast, a man brimming with confidence.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, this was we haven't been able to be on the podcast to talk about the El Seno retirement, but obviously we do know he did retire this past week, and honoring him before the game. Listen, he will always hold a special place, but the Union had with a nice convincing win against the San Jose side that we don't know what's going to happen with them the rest of the season. I don't see anything good happening, but you get 3 points. Like Tim alluded to at the beginning, this is the best start in Union history. 2 wins and a draw. They are in the right trajectory here. Gentlemen, let's get the takeaways here. Tim, we'll start off with you, my man. What was the biggest takeaway from you on that cold Saturday night in Chester?
I mean, the fact that you had strikers 3 and 4 as your starters and no strikers on the bench, and you're still able to get 2 goals. I mean, you should get at least 2 goals against that San Jose side, and there were lots of chances for Sergio and Corey to get more than 2. But that's the main takeaway for me, is that you're getting these contributions from strikers that are now bench players, that are being kind of thrust into starting roles with either an injury like Ure, even though Jim said that it might not be something that serious, that they just didn't want to try him out on that cold night, which I totally get. And then Carranza, who's on the red card. So I think that's the main takeaway from this group, is that they're still able to create 2 goals, and the first one from the actual strikers, being able to run in behind and then get a good tap in and actually put it in the net. And like that was nice to see for a change.
Justin, I have to ask you, how surprised were you to see Sergio go for 90 plus?
Surprise turned into like worry, and I think it was more you listen with Sergio, you just have to be concerned. And I will say, I think this is one of his finest games as a Union player. I think he was creating havoc the whole game. Mm-hmm. I mean, that goal comes kind of out of a broken play. Yeah. I mean, the ball was put on that direction, and it looked like San Jose had kind of broken it up, and then Sergio just takes it. He dribbles right around Jackson Ewell, and God, at that point, Jackson Ewell would have, he was at that point close to pulling him down.
Yeah.
It would have been a card, and it could have been a penalty. He was getting closer to the box, and he was still trying to tug at him, and Sergio does the smart thing, and he cuts up the goal line, and yeah, I mean, Corey Rick, that's a tap-in. That's a strike goal that any striker is going to want to have, and it was a great setup by Sergio for it. And listen, yeah, could they have had more? Yeah, but JT Marcinkowski did stand on his head.
Yeah, he had a good game.
He had a few. He had the one, the save that really stood out was the save off of a header on the corner from Nate Harriel. Like, Nate Harriel seems to be great in these aerial duels, and it was
boys got hops.
You thought it was in the corner of the net, and JT Marcinkowski with the overhand swat, just an unbelievable save.
That was a good save,
and you kind of felt for him, because despite San Jose having more possession, they really didn't do anything with it. I mean, and I think that's kind of what Tim and I talked about during the game was, the possession stats were, listen, whenever it comes to teams playing the Union, the Union are always outpossessed. Mm-hmm. The Union rarely outpossess a team, because that's not how they play. As Danny said, they're not a defensive team, but they have such a good defensive spine that they can absorb a lot of this pressure. But San Jose really didn't even have pressure. Most of their chances were just trying to cross it in, and it was easily handled. Yeah, you would take these shots from way out that no one was going to be scoring, and overall they just looked poor. And I'm sorry, but the best left back in the league,
I was waiting for that one.
Diddley. I rarely saw him do anything, and I think that's like no one was effective. No one was effective for San Jose, and I think that's kind of what the Union do best, is just you can have all the ball, but they're just going to say, hey, come at us, try to, and they weren't bunkering, but they were sticking firm, and that selective press has been working great. And honestly, another great game from Daniel Gazdag. I just got to, like, at this point, Gazdag is full of confidence right now.
Yeah,
he's on 2 goals this season. He is just, at this point, I have a hard time taking him out of the lineup. Like, and it's also it has to be tough now to say, oh well, Daniel Gazdag, isn't the 10 that you need. At this point, I think no, he's absolutely the 10 the Union need, and the Union can now bring in a Paxton or Jack or Quinn to give Gazdag rest if he needs it.
Yeah.
But I don't think he's going to, because after this game you have a 2-week break for the international window. So I think you'll see a lot of players getting a decent amount of rest.
Yeah.
So I really think this is as we said, this is the team's deep all across the roster. But Gazdag's got a firm hold on his attacking mid spot. And I think this game is just another example of someone who is now very full of confidence.
Yeah, you bring up great points. I mean, Gazdag really his mark early in the season. You kind of see what it does to a player that's able to have a full off season and already had had that taste of playing with the guys already last year in that short time. For me, when I watched the game, I really felt like San Jose was trying to force Union to attack centrally. And listen, you're not going to be able to do that, and especially with the speed that Corey and Sergio have, San Jose just were not able to keep up with it. And Tim, what's crazy to me is, like you said, like we had our third and fourth options at forwards, yet we still had a lot of opportunities. Yeah. And just imagine you have Ua and Carranza in those roles. Dude, we're putting back 3-4 goals, man. That's how I felt watching that match on Saturday night, man.
Yeah, like I agree, and it kind of sucks that Ua was
right
out, and found out basically an hour before the game, and the Union found out a few hours before the game that he had that little injury there. But yeah, I mean, it's gonna be something to see when we can actually see basically the front three that Jim Curtin wants to play is Ua, Carranza, and Gazdag. Yes, and we haven't seen that at all. We didn't even see it in preseason because we all know Ua couldn't get in the country. So I wouldn't be surprised if we don't see it still until after that little break. I feel like that's kind of the perfect opportunity. We come back, I believe, after the international break, April 2nd at home against Charlotte. Like unleash that front three at Charlotte. Like, do what you can against NYCFC. Like, we still want 3 points against them, especially after what happened last year. But I wouldn't be surprised if Ua is still, sitting out, especially given the field size and the surface there. Like, if he went up to Montreal and then had some issues with his legs, like let's give him some time to get ready and bring it back in April.
What was the concern like at the Rivers End with Ua not being in there?
It definitely was a lot more to start.
Yeah.
And then because we had to wait a while for to get out. So Jim was having his press conference, and at least Tim found out it was able to it was a precautionary holdout, and Tim's right. I don't see Ua hopefully not in the 18 for Saturday, because I think if you give him these additional few weeks with the break and going up against Charlotte on April 2nd, I think that's the most likely to get a solid run, a solid start from Ua. And at this point, and also with the way that with the field conditions, as Tim said, with the narrow, and I don't know if it suits his style.
Yeah,
just because also it's a weird field. I mean, we all know it's a weird field, but I think it's the best thing is just to take it easy and not rush him, because again, how your forwards are playing, you don't need to rush Ua, and that's a luxury that I don't think you've had in any season so far.
Absolutely. So last week we discussed, and you brought it up, Justin, Nathan Harriel, and I told you I needed to see a little bit more. I am thoroughly impressed of what I have seen from Nate, and he had some opportunities where he had to track back, but obviously the kudos being recognized around the league, making it into the 18 of the all MLS 11. That's truly remarkable. He's being recognized there, and yes, for now, he is going to, this is his job. Like, there's no way we go back from Olivier and buys from here. I want to see what he does against some of the good talent in the elites of this league as well. And NYCFC is going to be a good test here this weekend.
Yeah.
But it was, I was looking forward to him going up against Marcos Lopez, and that really wasn't. It's not what I expected. But I'm glad. I'm happy that Nathan Harriel was able to show out, man.
Yeah, and it's
Ariel
and I think as Danny said it best, this is Nate's position now. I think if Jim was that willing to go, you know what, Nate, I mean, honestly, he wouldn't have started him if he wasn't doing well in training.
Right.
And now you're 2 games into the Nate Harriel experiment, and you've given up 1 goal, and he's created a lot on the attack. And he's tracking back. I think at this point, Bizo's gonna have to show something to warrant thrusting Nate out. I think at this point you can't take Nate out because he's just playing a complete game now. And like I said, the getting forward part, that's from all of the Union fullbacks, that's evident that they can do.
Mm-hmm.
It's the question of, can they track back? We know Kai can track back. We know Bizo has had trouble. And Nate, as young as he is, it's a legitimate question to ask of, can he track back? And so far through 2 games, I'm seeing that he does have that ability to get back and to know when to go forward. He knows how to time it. And I think having Ali on that side with him is a ideal situation, because think about it. If Ali knows that he doesn't have to make that run forward, and he can just have that give and go and then send Nate up.
Yep.
I think that saves his legs a little bit, because I think with Bizo, I don't think Ali has that luxury, and I think he has to track up and back, and then that's wearing on him. And these days, he's got to be selective with how he makes those runs. And that partnership, especially in the diamond between that outside midfielder and the fullback, is pretty crucial. In any midfield, if you have a good partnership with that midfielder on your side, if you're the fullback, it's dangerous. It is a very dangerous situation. All of the best teams have that kind of a combination, and it's just unreal to look at and go, wow, this kid is not even 20 years old, and he's already made the bench of an MLS team of the week. Like, that goes to show a lot of respect, and hats off to him, because he's balling out. So Nate, I mean, just keep doing your thing, man. It's just unreal at this point.
Yeah,
pretty much, man. Pretty much. Did you have something to add there, Tim?
Yeah, I mean, we were talking about some of his maybe defensive attributes instead, being better than Bizo, I should say. And I mean, take this with a grain of salt, because I pulled this from FOTMob, so we're not really ever sure if these stats are great or not. But it said that he won 9 out of 16 ground duels, which is 56%, which is pretty good for an outside back that might have to scramble backwards when the Union like to push forward. But he won 3 out of 4 aerial duels, because he wins everything in the air, apparently. So
it's
like
wild.
So like that's crazy to me.
How tall is he? I don't think he's above.
He's not that tall. I'm trying to. I'm curious. He's 5'10". So that's what he's listed at.
He's 2 inches taller than me, and he's winning the.
But he got hot. So I mean, I think you guys are kind of spot on. That this is his spot to lose now. I thought it might come around this time now in the season, 4 weeks in. I thought would be when he got his chance, but Jim gave it to him week 2. And then we were talking about Ali Bedoya and how good he's looked in the last 2 games. remember how we said he didn't look that good in game 1, and that partnership with Bizo is probably the reason why, because Ali had to be the one mainly tracking back because Bizo just didn't have the legs to get back and help on defense. So I think you're going to see this partnership for a while now until something happens. And I think Danny brought it up too in the last podcast. I know I wasn't on it, but I think he talked about how this will push Bizo to hopefully get better as well. And maybe we'll see that in training. If he does better than Harriel, then he'll come in and he should show it in the game. But that's what he was talking about. The competition and the depth in this squad is just off the charts right now.
Yeah, man. I think both fullbacks played exceptional. I thought Kai Wagner had a really good game. The image I keep thinking is the slide tackle tracking back. That was absolutely beautiful as well. So, we keep talking about how important this position is for the Philadelphia Union, and we have two pretty solid fullbacks right now. And it's the first time in a while where I feel, look, Ray, we knew we had Ray, right? Ray was a defensive stalwart. He obviously was a voice in the dressing room. But the attackability is something that we lacked. And Nate, he's starting to figure out the defensive side, and he's obviously has the speed. He's got the hops as well, Justin. So we're in a good spot, guys. We're in a good spot. And not many weaknesses on this side, guys. Not too many. When at full strength, this is a really tough side to stop. But you guys ready to talk about our next match?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, look, we know how our season ended last year. There is no secrets, right? Still seeing the images of Maxi Morales holding up the Eastern Conference Final Championship in Chester, Pennsylvania still leaves a bitter taste in my mouth. Well, guys, we're going to get the opportunity this upcoming Saturday to wipe that smile off of NYCFC's face. We're going to go up to Yankee Stadium to face off against those guys. A little 1 o'clock kickoff. We have yet to still win in Yankee Stadium. We've had draws. We have yet to win. So the key here is to get that monkey off our back, get those 3 points in Yankee Stadium before they decide to move to Westchester, New York. I don't know where they're freaking going to go, but you guys get the picture. But, gentlemen, before we get to like actual tactics and what's going to happen on Saturday, can we please talk about their obviously Justin's name? That banner is not only like a slap in the face to like NYCFC fans, but it's a slap in the face to the cup that we are all here dying to get. Dude, that thing is as big as my MacBook. It's absolutely disgraceful what they did to NYCFC fans. I mean, Tim, come on. Like, what are we doing here?
Yeah, I remember seeing like the video of it and being like, wait, that's it? Like, that's it? They like had this little itty bitty tarp over what's probably like an outfield banner there at the baseball stadium, and they lifted it up, and the 3 fans that got to do it, I'm assuming they were fans, like they were all like pumped up. One guy was flexing, and I'm like, listen, like you won the cup, props to you. I get that, like, great achievement. You beat us on the road there, like props. But like to flex over this postage stamp over your postage stamp field is just it's just, I mean, and we kind of saw this too, like with New England with their supporter shield banner. I'm going all in on all these teams now. Like it's the same.
Please.
It's the same thing. It was a small banner up in Foxborough, and like up in Foxborough, they have all the Super Bowl things that are giant, and the Revs things are smaller. I get it. That is what it is. At least for NYCFC, the banner size for NYCFC is the same size as like the Yankees World Series banners, but the Yankees have 27 of them or 26, whatever it is. So like, that makes sense for them to be that size because they have to fit them all in. Like this is the only thing NYCFC has right now. Like they should have something hanging from the rafters and actually kind of swaying a little bit in the wind. You know what I mean? Or like a flag or something. Like if it's a baseball stadium, put up a championship flag. Like, I see NYCFC fans on Twitter who are like, dogging people for complaining about this and that. And like, no, I get that. Like you're entitled to be upset that people are making fun of your banner. You did win the cup. So yeah, you can talk whatever you want because you won the cup. But like, shouldn't you want more from your club to show that you won this other than something that like I could hang on my wall? like are they giving them out to fans? Like that's what I would want if they're going to be that size. Like give me a copy of it. I'll pay like $50 or more for it. Like let's go. Yeah.
It's absolutely ridiculous. Like in theory, like it's cool having, being owned by the Steinbrenners. It's cool being owned by like Robert Kraft, but this is like the negatives of having those type of owners. And this is why I give the utmost respect to Arthur Blank. Like he actually gets it and he cares about Atlanta United, despite how we do feel about that club. But this is part of the problem is that I don't think they recognize what it actually means to the fans. As much as we criticize Sugarman, our supporter shield banner is pretty damn good, and it's pretty prevalent when you walk into Subaru Park. And that is kind of the difference here. It's just a slap in the face to these trophies that a lot of us fans have yet to even taste, right?
Yeah.
So it's just absolutely terrible. Justin, I know you've been dying to unleash your wrath on NYCFC and the Steinbrenners and the City Group. What do you got for us, man?
It's embarrassing to see that size of a banner. I mean, I think my TV that I'm currently watching NYCFC of 1-0. I think it's bigger than that damn banner. Like, I get it. You play in Yankee Stadium. You are owned by the Yankees, but you couldn't give a fuck to even make a decent sized banner. I mean, good Lord, that's just pathetic. And for all the OC fans who are chiding people for ripping them, no, we have every right to rip. Yeah, you can say, yeah, we won it, and yeah, you did. But we can also say, what the hell is that bullshit banner that you have parading up there? It looks like something that I would use to wipe my car down, like
a dude wipe, or
hey, there you go. It was made on the back of a dude wipe. There you go. The brand, the marketing pays for itself. Like it is pathetic, embarrassing, just general chuckle fuckery. Like I they have so much money between that ownership group. You couldn't pay for a fucking bigger banner. Good Lord. Even Jay Sugarman would pay for a bigger banner, and he did for the supporter shield. Like to Robert Kraft, to Citigroup, and to the Yankees, get your shit together. If you're being outspent on a banner by fucking Jay Sugarman, all right, you should feel bad about yourselves. Like it's just embarrassing on so many levels. And I feel for NYCFC fans. They're like, you won the MLS Cup on the road in Portland, in PKs. Like it was a tough game. You should be proud of that. But apparently, your team doesn't give enough of a shit to honor that win.
You would think that they had some general allocation money they could have added onto some sort of.
Yeah, where's Don's allocation money? Is that BAM banner allocation money? Just like how much BAM is needed to make a bigger banner.
Seriously, man. I'm not saying you got to have one as big as the Yankees World Series. I understand what World Series means in New York. Yeah, make some sort of an effort. Make it like the thing is that it's really hard to see it no matter where you're at in the stadium. Like you could be like a section or two over from that banner and you really can't see it. Like
it looks like it was made at home. Like it looks like they just asked a fan to make it.
I even showed Nat, my girlfriend, and I was like, babe, this is literally what they did for NYCFC, and she even was like, that's embarrassing. So yeah, like NYCFC, it is time to do better, but. Look, regardless of any banners and what happened last year, right now for this side, going up on Saturday, 1:00 kickoff here for the Union NYCFC. Gentlemen, I'll be 110% honest with you two. I really, really, really like our chances for a dub on Saturday. Right now, as Justin's watching, they are in CCL in their second leg against Comunicaciones. All right, so
they're up 1-0.
1-0, right? And look, all of us were in that boat last year. We know how difficult it is to manage CCL with MLS. It is difficult to keep up with that. Currently, this NYCFC squad only have 4 points on the season, a win, a loss, and a draw. The trifecta there to start off the year. Although that win against Montreal was pretty impressive there. 4-1 victory.
I think the conditions had
Montreal came off of CCL as well. They played in the Azteca the week before.
Yeah,
So
like that's between the travel and the conditions.
Yeah, and NYCFC's CCL game last week was at home, so they had
where was home this time?
I don't know. Actually, yeah,
Hartford, Connecticut.
Yeah.
Oh my god!
I forgot about that.
Again, oh my god!
Which it did not even look like a home game because I did not know there were that many Guatemalans or Comunicaciones fans in Connecticut because it sounded like an away game.
Yeah.
Like genuinely, I was watching. It was loud. There were air horns, vuvuzelas. You saw all the Guatemalan flags. I was like, this kind of reminds me of the Club America game.
Like, America. Oh wow! Whoa! Okay.
It was that apparent that you couldn't tell it was a home game for NYCFC, even though they weren't playing in New York City. Like it was that loud, and I actually thought they were in Guatemala for the first leg.
Not to go too far off time. I thought Saprissa had a good crowd in Chester. They just were scattered. Like they didn't sit all in one section. They were all over. Besides Rivers End, but they were just scattered throughout Super Bowl. But I really did think they had a good crowd that day. But when I look at NYCFC guys, like they haven't missed. Like obviously they lost a couple pieces from the championship team, but I mean you still got Castellanos, Tati. You still have Maxi Morales there. You still got Mango there as well, or Magno, whatever we're calling him.
He seems like the real deal.
Well, I wouldn't say the real deal, but he's starting to. I don't know if he's worth whatever the $10 million they paid for him.
He's going to move to center forward when they sell Castellanos, and he's going to be very good there because he's very good as a winger right now, and he scores goals as a winger. And if you put him in the target spot, he's going to be just fine.
My God. So for you two, how much for the amount of matches you watched of NYCFC, how much has the tactics changed since last year?
I wouldn't say it's really changed. I mean, Ronnie Dyla kind of has it's so it's weird. It's a back four, but really it almost feels like a back two because Chanot and Collins hang a bit deeper than the fullbacks, and the fullbacks tend to go up and support the midfield and the forwards. So it hasn't changed over Ronnie Dyla's tenure. In fact, he's definitely he's one of those coaches where he's pretty set in his ways, but his ways tend to work. Like he'll make tweaks within that system to get the most out of it, and it seems to work. And outside of Jesus Medina, they really haven't lost all that much.
Tajori Shroudy, but he wasn't.
Tajori Shroudy, but like he was really a bench player in the last.
They lose Sands too.
Yes, they did.
I mean, I think
he's
James Sands was in and out last season, kind of like. I mean, especially as he kind of got hurt towards the end of the season, he was kind of bouncing around the lineup. But I mean, you have as with the Union, you have the core portion of this lineup still intact.
Yeah,
and with the addition, with the presence more of Magno, who I still think it's early. I mean, he's clearly showing signs that he could be worth the money that NYCFC paid and could, in a few seasons get at least double, that. But I think they're at least, showing that they kind of have an idea behind, when they sell Tati, and I think they still sell Tati this summer.
Yeah.
But
for how much is the question?
Yeah, I think that's the thing is how much is he going to go for? But I think Ronnie Dyla, it's like Tati outside of he hasn't scored in league play.
No,
Like,
he scored in Champions League though.
Like, that's the thing. He scored in Champions League, but he hasn't scored in league play. And even without that, I mean, yeah, in the loss against LA and the draw, no one really looked good.
Yeah,
It was kind of an ugly few games. And again, it's the CCL curse. And again, Montreal teams coming off CCL, the conditions, it was in that field with the conditions and that field. That's just a recipe for disaster. And so it's kind of tough to get a true, idea of whether or not NYCFC is doing well or not this season, because their CCL play shows you they're dominating, but they haven't really played any, like, they ran over the first team they played 6-0 on aggregate.
Mm-hmm.
And at this point now they're up, 4-1 on aggregate, and they're kind of cruising.
yeah,
I think the next round, I mean, most at this point, probably Seattle. They're up 3-0 on Club Leon.
yeah.
So I think Seattle's a way tougher test. But at this point, it might be advantageous for the Union that they might want to start focusing on CCL. And at this point, that, as Jim said last year, his focus was on CCL, and they made it to the semis, and that was worth the, at the time it was worth it. And they still got the results in the league. I mean, you ended up finishing in second and making it to the Eastern Conference Finals.
Right.
So focusing on CCL doesn't necessarily mean that you're completely disregarding the league. But I think in this early part of the season, I think it does benefit the Union to have them on such a short notice and this kind of travel. I think it could work in the Union's favor.
I do agree, and this is why I'm telling you guys I feel good about Saturday. I really do. Like, you have to. I mean, listen. Unfortunately, the way the schedule works, you have to focus on CCL if you want to go far in it. And I think
they scored.
Oh, here we go.
It's a game. 2 more goals.
Yep.
And could be PKs after that.
And what I will say is I think NYCFC recognized that we are anticipating this matchup. It's going to be tough for them to come out with that same energy, because I know we're going to be coming out guns a-blazing. That's for sure. Anything you wanted to add on there, Tim?
I mean, I would just say New York City's league form right now is similar to the Union's last year when we were, in those first 2 legs, or 2 not even legs, but you know what I mean, first 2 matchups in CCL to get to the semifinals. So it's kind of mimicking that. And then if you look at NYCFC's lineup, even tonight, I know they usually like to play like a sort of like a 4-2-3-1, but then at times it's sort of just like those outside backs are kind of pushed forward, like Justin was saying. Looks like tonight they might be playing with a back 5, but it's still sort of the same group of players that they've had in there the whole time. They have their starters in tonight. So I would be surprised if all of them played on Saturday, especially given that it's an early Saturday game. And I know it's against the Union, and they'll be hungry for it because it's the team that they beat to get to the final. The fans, the NYCFC fans, are going to be up for it because they couldn't do their MLS Cup TIFO or whatever because of the weather last week. So they said they're going to do it for Philly, and how fitting that is, and blah blah blah. Makes sense, but for me, this game on Saturday, it could be the chance for the Union to get a win. But at the same time, I would be very, very happy with a draw. Like, that's where I'm at.
Nah, come on, Tim. We need the win. We need to rub it in their face. We need to rip that tifo away from the supporter. No, I'm completely kidding. Tim, you know what's the one thing that could beat us? Not NYCFC, but the almighty Yankee Stadium could get us yet again, man. It's rough playing there, brother.
It is.
Absolutely rough playing there. All right, gentlemen, the lineups here. Do you anticipate any changes, and will we finally see the big 3 up top?
No. I think if Jim's smart, he keeps Ua out of the lineup because you have the 2-week break. I think your back 4 stays the same. I think Nate even on this tight field, I think this actually could work to his benefit.
Yeah.
In terms of getting up. I think your midfield played well, so I don't see why he would change. And your front two, I think I think you get Carranza back. I think he goes right back into the lineup. I think his hold up play and his linking up with Gazdag, I think will be crucial on this narrow field. And then I think Corey Burke retains his spot. And I think the reason why is because while he can also hold up, I think his runs are a lot more direct than Sergio's are. And I think that works well on this field where you kind of have to be direct with your runs because you don't really have as much room out wide. So I think the forwards, you swap out Sergio for Carranza, and maybe Sergio comes off the bench. I mean, at this point, I think benching him is smart because he just did play a full 90. So I would just like to see him maybe come off the bench so that he's not full, so that in 2 weeks you maybe, again, I'd like to see him consistently as a bench player because your front three realistically is Uwa, Gazdag, and Carranza. But I think being smart and Uwa at least doesn't start. I don't know if he'd be in the 18. I don't know. Like I said, we're not fully aware of how serious. And I'm sure at Jim's press conference this week, he'll provide an update. Hopefully he just says, he's moving along. He should be ready. But if not, give him the 2 weeks and let him play against Charlotte. So the only changes I see are up top realistically.
So you don't think Carranza doesn't even come on in the second half? Or I'm sorry, Uwa.
I think it depends on the score, but I also think I think it depends on how he's progressing and how serious this injury was.
The quad.
Yeah, I think with that field, that field does concern me, just because of the players around where the infield was. The players slip all the time, and I just don't want. I don't want to see Uwa wrist when he could be fully healthy, primed, and ready.
Yeah.
In a few weeks against Charlotte.
Good points. What about you, Tim? Do you feel the same way?
I actually do. That was going to be my main switch up was the two up top of Carranza and Burke, and just to go off of what Justin said there, you need three things at Yankee Stadium to be successful in the attack. You need good combination, you need good hold up play, and you need people who are just willing to grind out the more direct runs, sort of like what Justin was saying. And you look at Carranza. He's shown that he has the ability to make the right run and also combine really well with Daniel Gazdag. And I think those two could unlock something here. And then when you look at Corey Burke, he can hold the ball up really well and he's a grinder. Like you can play the ball out wide and he will get to it. Like he might not be faster than the guy he's running against, but he'll find a way to put a body on him and beat him to the ball, that sort of thing. So I think those three are the perfect combination to try and get that win at NYCFC. For the midfield, obviously I said Gazdag is going to be in there. But yeah, I think you got to still go with Bedoya, Martinez, and Flock as your other three. They just really work well together. And obviously I still think the diamond is going to be the go-to there for the formation. And then the back line, it has to stay the same. Like Nathan Harriel, he has to be the right back here. Like,
ain't going nowhere.
Like hot hand Corey Burke. I agree, Mike. That's a good one.
What's up, Mike?
But yeah, the back line has to stay the same. Glesnes and Elliott playing out of their minds. Like they're going to be hungry against NYCFC because they couldn't play in the Eastern Conference Final.
Hell
so
yeah.
They're going to be up for it. Same with Andre Blake, which we haven't mentioned, but we know he's going to be the starter in goal. So like
permanent marker, right, Justin?
These guys have to be there. They have to be up for it. And Kai Wagner wasn't there either. Actually, I think the only players from the squad would Nate Harriel. Would he be the only one? And Brujo? Yeah.
Harriel, Brujo.
Leon healthy?
Gazdag was in there, wasn't he?
Yes. Wait. I think so.
Yeah.
Such a weird formation we ran to, like a weird line we ran.
Yeah, like I know. I remember Nathan Harriel was there because he was playing left back.
Yeah, he's like left back. They did a solid job too. It's crazy.
He did. He had a pretty good game in that one. But yeah, I think that's the lineup you go with. And I think if you're the Union, you feel pretty confident about competing for the 3 points. I don't know if they get it out. I would be fine with a draw. And I think that's always been Jim Curtin's mentality on the road anyways. But we saw what they did in Montreal. They went down a goal and then they found a way to score 2. So maybe something like that happens in NYCFC, and maybe you get lucky with all of the starters for NYCFC playing tonight in Champions League down in Guatemala. So it's going to be a rough week for them, I would assume.
Yeah, that's some good points. You know what I can't wait for, guys, is to hear Alejandro Bedoya's, you know, the pre-match huddle. I can't wait to hear what he has to say to those guys, man.
Well, I hope they get video of it. They haven't done any of that this year yet.
They did San Jose.
Oh, did they? I missed it.
They did. It's like we know what's going on. We have these Cali boys coming cross country playing this weather. Let's get the 3 points.
Yes. All right.
Mike's giving us the update. NYC grinding it out in Guatemala, 1-1 at the half. Burn them out. Let's go.
Yep.
Come on, Comunicaciones.
Yeah, get a few more.
Man, it's been. I've been watching. It has been ugly. It has been a slog. CONCACAFing at its finest. It's gonna be a lot for NYCFC this week.
Absolutely. Justin, let me ask you, how much do you remember the last regular season match in Yankee Stadium? The last match of the season last year, in the regular season match.
You mean the 1-1 draw?
Dude, the NYCFC had 10 men for a minute too. I think it was like almost 60 minutes. They had 10 men.
Yeah.
Casper had a goal.
Yeah, that
barely scored. Yeah, I remember that.
It's kind of why, like, as much as we keep talking about, like, oh well, you know, it's midweek and you know, you're going to, you know, Guatemala and everything, like every fiber of my being just thinks just get a draw, just get out of that damn place, and like it's just everything in my head is going draw, and it's like it's hard to go against that.
Absolutely. All right, gentlemen, nitty-gritty time. Let's get those predictions in. Justin, what do you see happening on Saturday afternoon at Yankee Stadium?
You know, like I said, I've been trying to, in my head, of ways to convince myself that the Union will come out with 3 points, and I genuinely hope that I'm wrong on this prediction. I think it's a 1-1 draw, and I think that with going to Yankee Stadium and that field, and it's just it at this point, like it's an insanely unfair advantage with that field. That's not a soccer field by any stretch of the imagination, and it's hard to watch those games sometimes.
Yes, sir.
And like I said, every fiber of my being, everything ingrained, traveling to Yankee Stadium is just saying, just get a point and get out. Like it's not worth it. Just get out and focus on kicking Charlotte's ass in 2 weeks.
All right, good point. All right, Tim, what's your prediction?
I'm trying to pull up what I said would happen in this game before the season, and yeah, just did. This was like one of the only times I had the Union losing a game in like their first like 10 games or something like that. But I think the circumstances are kind of changed right now. I think that the Union have the opportunity to get a win. Now it's just about executing. And I think if the front three is Burke and Carranza and Gazdag, and they're actually able to kind of play off each other, and then you have a forward or Gazdag making the right run at the right time, I think the Union could squeak out of here with a win. If I had to put a score on it, I think NYCFC are going to score. So they're going to get 1 goal. And then I definitely see the Union getting 1. So I think it's a draw at minimum. But if we're going for the vibes, it's a Corey Burke game-winning goal. Because why not? You know? Yeah. So there you go. 2-1 Union. Hot hand Corey Burke getting the tap in again to beat them.
Blake.
Oh, that's a good one. I wish Blake got a no-hitter. Yeah, but I see him.
Who's gonna steal home?
I like it. Mike's got 9-0 Union victory, a goal for each inning. Let's go. I love it. Mike coming with the jokes here today. We love it. It's easy to come at NYCFC. Look, I'm gonna be completely blunt with this. We're going to beat NYCFC. I got a 3-1 victory. We're gonna tear down that tifo. I hope that the NYCFC wear those ugly bolt kits, trying to take our idea. We sold out of those beautiful Bayou kits. They decided, hey, they worked for the union. Let's do it ourselves. And I hope that we wear the kits that we copied off of them as well. The home for you kids. It's going to be a lot of fun. I'm telling you, for everyone, every Union fan traveling up there, have fun, be safe, don't be an idiot, but you're allowed to have a little fun up there as well.
Yeah.
I got a nice victory up there for our boys, man. It's time. It's 6 years, 7 years we've been going up there to Yankee Stadium,
It's been
and
a while.
we've yet to beat them there. No, it ends on Saturday. We get the dub finally. Hopefully, guys. All right, gentlemen. Any last thoughts? Any last words before we sign off here for another episode?
Fuck them pigeons. That's all I gotta say. Fuck them, fuck the Bronx, fuck Yankee Stadium. It's all bullshit.
We love it here, except for the cooling. That's the one thing we won't say.
Yeah. Let's be Christian cool. Rest of fuck y'all.
You're cool. Fuck you.
You're cool.
I'm out.
Yeah, I'm out.
And we take away the 3 points. Amen. Let's get it, guys. All right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for tuning on into another episode of DOOP by the River. It was a fun one, talking some San Jose, talking some NYCFC. Of course, we'll be back at it next week. We'll be recapping this one. But ladies and gentlemen, real quick, thank you so much for tuning on in. Make sure you guys hit the like button, subscribe to El Parcero Phillies YouTube channel. We always broadcast these live through this YouTube channel. Make sure you guys are subscribed to Philly Sports Network. Also make sure you check out Philly Sports Network. All great articles from Justin, Tim, and of course Steve and Zach as well. But of course, make sure you guys are subscribed to PSN Radios. Never miss out on any of the Duke by the River or any of the Philly Sports Network podcasts as well. Ladies and gentlemen, that is Justin Itty Bitty Banner Brigade Friedberg. That is Tim Lovinguth. Of course, I am El Parcero Philly. We're telling you guys the Duke on. Beat the Pigeons!
Duke by the River.
Doesn't do anything well. There is not one.
I'm sorry. There was no creativity.
As a Union fan, I take that all day.
Another DP. We need to go get Mario Balotelli.